Hello class. Today we are looking at the menstrual cycle. But before we begin, I would like to ensure that you've got all your equipment with you. Have you got your pen, your pencil, your green pen, your book? I would like you to pause the video, grab all of this equipment. When you're ready, press play. Alright, so like I said, our LO is to know the different stages of the menstrual cycle. What I'd like you to do, like we always do, is to write down this learning objective in our book, okay? And after doing this, I would like you to answer the retrieval questions. These are questions based on what we did last lesson. Again, pause the video, carry out the task being set, and when you're done, press play. All right. So the first question is asking, where are the eggs made and stored in females? What is the role of the testes? Number 3 is asking you, name a hormone involved in causing changes during puberty in females. And then a math question is asking you, a boy is 150 centimeters before puberty. When he finishes puberty, he is 172 centimeters, okay? What is the percentage change in his growth, okay? And also the last question is asking you, what is structure X? Now, I'll be happy to say that, now for your first answer, for your first answer, okay, the eggs are actually made and stored inside the ovaries, okay? Again, give yourself a mark using your green pen or use a green pen to make those corrections. Number 2 is asking, what is the role of the testes? Well, the role of the testes is actually to produce sperm cells, okay? Again, if you get that mark right, give yourself a tick or use a green pen to make those corrections. The third question is asking, name a hormone, okay, involved in causing changes during puberty in females. Now, we've got 2 different hormones here, okay? We've got the estrogen and the progesterone, okay? You're going to get marked for either of these 2 or if you have the 2 as well, okay? And then number 4 is asking you for the percentage change of growth, okay? Before puberty, the boy was 150 centimeter, and after puberty, it was 172 centimeter. So the question is asking for percentage growth, and the percentage growth is actually 14.6%. All right. Now, the 5th question is asking, what is the name of the structure labeled X? I would like to tell you that the structure is called the uterus, like we talked about last lesson when we're looking at the different problems that could occur in people, okay? All right. Now, again, give yourself a mark, make those corrections, and then we can continue. All right. Now, hopefully we'll be able to develop our knowledge today, okay? We're going to be able to name key dates of ovulation, okay, that occurs. Also, to secure our knowledge, we should be able to describe the different stages of menstrual cycle. And to master our knowledge, we should be able to interpret data on the menstrual cycle. All right? Now, this is what we need to do here, okay? Now, what is quite interesting is when a girl go through puberty, one of the changes that occur is that she begins to have periods. And I'm sure you've heard about periods, okay? This is the female body's way of preparing to produce, okay? Again, it is the way the female body is preparing to produce, all right? Now, a woman's reproduction system works on a 28-day cycle. So after 28 days, it starts again, okay? A 28-day cycle. And this cycle is known as the menstrual cycle, okay? The reproductive system works in 28-day cycle, and this cycle is known as the menstrual cycle, okay? Now, the menstrual cycle actually consists of a number of stages which we need to know. And in this lesson, we'll actually talk about these stages and what happens at these stages. Now, I would like you to watch this video in your own time, all right? In your own time, I will ask you to watch this video. But we're going to now do a couple of things there now, okay? We're going to talk about the different stages of the menstrual cycle. But before we begin that, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about this menstruation in detail. Now, like we said, an important part of puberty is the beginning of the monthly cycle, which is known as the menstrual cycle for women, okay? The menstrual cycle is basically involved in the preparation of what we call the uterus lining, okay, from last lecture, so that it is able to receive a fertilized egg. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. The menstrual cycle involves the preparation, okay, to get ready the uterus lining, okay, by the uterus, like we learned last lesson, so that it is able to receive a fertilized egg. All right. Now, if an egg is fertilized, it can implant itself in the prepared uterus lining. Remember, the menstrual cycle is meant to prepare to receive the egg, okay? Now, if the egg is fertilized, it can implant itself in the prepared uterus lining, okay? Now, here's the other thing. What if the egg has not been fertilized, okay? If the egg has not been fertilized, what happens now is that the lining of that prepared uterus begins to break down, okay? And it's lost from the body. This is called menstruation or period. That is when sometimes it comes out as blood. It's not necessarily just blood. It's basically the lining of the uterus breaking down. Because why? No egg has been fertilized. All right? I hope that makes sense. We're going to talk about this more in detail to explain the process of menstruation. Now, let's start from stage 1, okay? In stage 1 of menstruation, bleeding starts, okay, as the lining of the uterus breaks down and passes out of the vagina along with some blood. That is why most of the time it does appear as blood, okay? So it passes out through the vagina out along with some blood, okay? Now, for the next part of it, which we're going to look at, which is the second stage, okay? Like, oh yeah, we've talked about that. That is actually menstruation, period. And then for the stage 2, which is around day 4, okay, what happens is the lining of the uterus starts to build up again. Okay, remember day 1, around day 1 to day 3, it breaks down. Day 4, okay, the lining begins to build up again, okay, until about day 14, where it thickens into a spongy layer, ready again for an implant in it. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, now after that 14th day, around the day 14, the egg is released. When it sees that, oh, this is ready, okay, the egg is released from the ovaries of the female. This is called ovulation. Now, this is most likely time in which the female can get pregnant. All right, so this is the most fertilized period of a female, okay, day 14. Okay, anything before that is less likely, but there's still a chance of getting pregnant. But day 14 during ovulation is a time when there's a chance where a woman can get pregnant. Okay, this is something a lot of adults talk about, family planning and a lot of that, and I'm sure it's something you're going to learn about as you go through your academic. All right, so this is ovulation when the egg is released around day 14. Okay, now let's move on to the rest. Okay, now the uterus lining will remain thick, awaiting the arrival of a fertilized egg. Remember, the egg is being released there, which is ovulation, but then the egg is going to remain there until it gets fertilized. Okay, but why it's waiting to get fertilized, the uterus thickens at that point. Okay, and again after 28 days, okay, when the egg does not fertilize, it's going to break down, okay, like it has happened in the beginning. And that is why it's a 28-day cycle. So it starts, it breaks down, it builds up, and then it breaks down. And then it's going to start again. It builds up, it thickens, it breaks down. All right? This is literally the cycle. All right? Now, what I want you to do now is I want you to do this in order yourself, okay? I want you to pause the video and label and write it. Actually, I want you to write it down in order, okay? Using your normal pen, and then you can use a green pen to make your corrections and mark your work later. Again, pause the video. When you're ready, press play. All right, let us continue. Already we know that number 1 is C, where the bleeding starts, okay? Now your number 2 is when the lining of the uterus starts to build up, okay? Number 3, which is our day 14, is when the egg is released, okay? Number 4 is when the uterus stays thick, waiting for an egg to arrive, okay? Does that make sense? And number 5 is A, where the uterus begins to break down. All right? I do hope you've gotten all of this right. If you haven't gotten everything right, that is fine. What's quite important for you is to actually make those corrections, okay? Again, pause the video, make those corrections. When you're ready, press play. Okay, now what we've been able to do now is to actually secure our knowledge, hopefully, okay? We've been able to describe the stages of the menstrual cycle. Now we'll see how we can master it, right? Now, this is actually a way of testing, okay? Ovulation, okay? Knowing whether is the right period, okay? Now, I'm just going to read what has been written there. It says, a lady is trying for a baby. She uses the test to see if she is ovulating. She had a period 3 days ago. Will the test tell her she is ovulating? That's the question there, okay? Now, give me 1 second. So yeah, the question is asking, would the test actually tell her if she's ovulating? What do you think? Is the test going to tell her yes or no? You're still thinking about it. Now, I'm going to go back to our slide, okay? Now, when do we have ovulation? Can you remember? You see, from day 4. So, but then what has happened now is she's testing day 3. Okay, she had a period 3 days ago. Well, to be honest, the test might not exactly tell her that she's ovulating. Okay, maybe if she waited 1 more day, okay, on the 4th day, on the 5th day, then she's more likely to be told whether she's ovulating, if that makes sense, okay? Like I said, she had a period 3 days ago. Would the test tell her she's ovulating? Less likely, okay? Because it's a little bit too early. All right, let's continue. Now, let's have a look at this, okay? This extension question, okay? If the first day of a girl's period is the 1st of March, the first day of our next period will be the what? What do you guys think? Yes, it should be the 28th of March, okay? Does that make sense? Good, okay? Now, what I want you to actually do now as an extension for this is, I want you to actually answer all of these questions, okay? And when you're done, I want you to take a picture and send it across, okay? Send it via the email, and then we'll be able to mark it, and we're going to get some achievement points. All right? Now, look at this one. Actually, let's try and answer the last one, okay? It says that if a woman misses a period, what might this mean? That she doesn't see a period. Remember, period is the fact that the lining, okay, of the uterus is actually breaking down. So if it's not being broken down, what do you think has happened? Of course, well then, the egg has been fertilized, okay? Meaning there's a chance that she's pregnant, okay? Now, I want you to answer the rest of the question and send us a picture on it. Now, what about this one? Let's have a look at this. Again, pause the video. True or false? When you're ready, press play. All right. Every woman has a 28-day cycle. Actually, it's false because it depends on individual. Different individuals have got different number of days that they carry out the menstrual cycle. And the next question, ovulation is when the uterus lining is shed. No, remember, ovulation is when the egg is released. Okay, when the eggs are released. Number 3 is saying hormones control the menstrual cycle. That is true. Okay, remember the hormones, we've got the estrogen and the progesterone. Those are the 2 hormones in the female. Number 4 says menstruation marks the end of the menstrual cycle. No, it doesn't. Okay, remember, it doesn't mark it. Okay, and number 5 says one hormone controls the whole menstrual cycle. That is false. We've got different hormones that actually control the menstrual cycle. All right, and it's something you're going to be learning in detail. So I do hope you've learned quite a lot from today's lesson. Again, if you've got questions, there are things you didn't understand, please make sure you send us an email, and I'll catch you on the next topic. Bye-bye.